was Jewish. He spoke not fluent, but broken German,
Right, right.
They let the other woman go. They got, and it was strange when he was finished eating, Lucy. They brought a silver tray, all covered dishes. He was the big, the desk was about as long as from here, big, heavy, old. He pushed it across, though he detained me about half an hour. He said, no, you eat. What did I do? I didn't care who ate before me. Lucy, I was starving. And then he said, I still think your father big Nazi, but I wish you good luck. So the only thing I did, Lucy, all this time, I looked him straight in the face, straight here. That's my father told me that. Don't ever show fear and look the person will interrogate you right here. All of a sudden something came over him and he said, I have to let this woman go in his mind. But I tell you, I was scared. He had the power to keep me there. Nobody would know anything about it.
Could they have killed you?
They wouldn't have killed me, but they might make a mistress or something out of me,
Yeah.
So when I got back, there was a lot of people there were crying. They thought they never see me again, because they brought the other two women back. See, the two guards always come. And we volunteered because they promised a good meal. We were so hungry, And we worked good. We cleaned all the nightstands and the beds, sanitized it. But this big shot walked around with his swagger stick. Had a swagger stick, like you. And I know the way he looked at me, but I tried to not to give it any attention. And when everything was done, two guards came, and one guard pointed to the two women come with me. On the other one, I had to go with him, and then I smelled the rat right away.
Yeah.
So I had so many things happen to me, Lucy. There was no end to it, Some of them I tried to block out of my mind, But I tell you, that's why I survived my dad. I got strong. I did, and then on top of that, this was after the war, in '45. I got typhoid fever, and everybody thought I was a goner. It was everything I looked at. It wasn't like light. Everything was red. Like that's how high my fever was, And we stayed at this old farmhouse, and I was I wasn't eating anything for about 3 days. And it was a couple older, the young people had typhoid fever. And then all of a sudden I felt a little better, and the woman would bring me some chicken soup or something up. And then she said, I'm sorry, but you can't stay here. Once the Russians find out the soldiers that stayed wells up there, they come and rape you, But Lucy, I was afterwards, that's when I went down to 113 pounds. And I lost over 2 months, my hair came down like rain, But I survived. Because even at home, when I got back home, I would have told me so many of the young people my age just died, typhoid fever. There was no doctor, no medication, no nothing. But I was tough.
Yeah.
But that's it all off at the end. All the stuff I went through, and I was close to home, about a mile or so. There comes the Russian on leading the bike. I tell, normally a lot of people wouldn't remember this, but I see it in pictures now. I see you, but I also see the picture. And he was kind of wobbling, like he'd been drinking, And then he passed me. He wanted to know what the time was, Or maybe he wanted to know if I had the watch. And I just told him it was in the afternoon. I just said, in Russia it was 3 o'clock. And I had the damn feeling right away, the creepy feeling. Oh my gosh, this guy's going to turn around and come back after me. I was, I think, less than a mile from my father's house. And sure enough, he came back. And the first thing, he threw his bike down, and then he thought, and that was in August, and the corn, no, the rye was setting up in sheaves, and wanted me to sit down. And he had that great big pistol on the side. He had some rank, but he was not a big shot, but he was an officer. And he was ugly as all hell. He had smallpox, he had pox in his face, just terrible, sweaty. He looked sweaty. So what could I do? I sat down, and he sat down next to me, and he tried to tell me he had never seen me. He was a commandant. He named the town next to ours, commandant. He was commandant. He was in charge. And I tried to tell him I had 2 kids at home. And he looked at my face. I told you I only was 150. Oh, he said he wanted to take care of me and bring all this food, what he named, and I would in a lot of motion. And then he unbuttoned his pants and he take this ugly sink out. And I seen it laying there all limp. And then he said, "Who ya net stoy?" That means this dick doesn't stand. He was too drunk. But he said, no whiskey, then he would be okay. Can you see poor me?
Yeah.
I was so scared. And then all of a sudden, he kind of leaned over more and more, and I watched his eyelids. At first they were flicking. That means he was not really sleeping. It took about 20 minutes, and finally he started snoring. And, and I very slowly pushed the piss. I was so afraid. I pushed it underneath the sheaves because I figured if he wake up and he see me in distance, he shoot me. And then very slowly I backed out. And Lucy, I never run that fast in my life. As emaciated as I was, I think it would normally probably take 20 minutes. I think I made in 10 minutes. So I got home. But I said, gee, now I'm almost home, and if this guy kill me, of course people will find me, and then somebody will identify me. But oh my God, how I survived all this today, Lucy, I don't know. But I did. I don't make any of those fairy tales up.
Oh gosh.
On this guy, now all the women, they all had to go to the commandant tour in the morning when they got shows to do in the field.